So we're going to walk you through building the quarter pallet displays. Each of your stores will receive 2 quarter pallet displays. One, as you can see, we already have assembled here for reference. This is Ryan's Lab, or Ryan's World rather. And then this one is Discovery. So I would recommend that you probably start building the quarter pallet displays first. Because they're smaller, they're a lot easier to work with. And it will get you familiar with how to work the cardboard parts and pieces before you move on to the half pallet displays, which are just a little bit more cumbersome to work with. So the first step we recommend, once you open the box, is lay out all your pieces, just like we did with the half pallet. So you have your back / side / bottom piece, which is one solid piece here. You've got these are different. These pieces were not in the half pallet display. They are spatial section dividers for each of the shelves. We'll walk you through how to assemble them as well as where to put them in each of the shelves. Here are each of your shelf pieces, and then finally your header piece. What I also did not mention in the half pallet video is that each of your displays will come with assembly instructions. Definitely pay attention to these. The training video will definitely help, and feel free to rewind, fast forward as you're working through the display and get familiar with them. I promise you, we've built enough of these to know that once you do a couple of them, you'll be able to do them in your sleep. So it's just the first couple ones that may be a little bit more awkward. But definitely reference these sheets, especially for the quarter pallet display. And that is because of these guys. Super crucially important to reference this sheet here, because it's going to show you where to place each one of these spatial dividers in each shelf. And you have to put those in before you put in the next shelf, or they will not go in. Okay, first thing after laying out all your pieces is you probably want to assemble all of these space pieces so that they are all blocked and assembled, and you can just stack them in the shelves as you're building, help make you a little bit more efficient. You can see in this display that's already built, they're just little white section sort of, I wouldn't call them dividers, but it just helps for when you're filling the product to make it look a little bit neater so all the product is towards the front. So as you can see here, there's little perforated markings on each of them. They will denote where they go on each shelf. So like this is D, D1, D2. So that goes on in shelf D. This is C, that goes on shelf C. This is B, B1 and B2. So there's 2 on shelf B, 1 on shelf C, and there'll be 2 on shelf D. Now, if you've already watched the half pallet display build, you know that the shelves are marked 3, 2, 1, A, B, C. It's not like that for the quarter pallet because all the shelves are exactly the same. So these shelves in the quarter pallet do not have any kind of markings. They're all interchangeable. It doesn't matter where you put them in order. It does matter for these guys. So I'm just gonna assemble a couple real quick. I'll do the D's since that's gonna be first. Now for these are, because these are D, C, B, that does matter. Most bottom is D, next one up is C, the last one up is B. So it goes D, C, B. That's the only part that does matter as far as order. So for these guys, it'll take a couple times to get used to this. It's a little awkward in the beginning. You're gonna bend these larger side flaps in like this. Everything's perforated, so bend them up. These guys actually, these little flaps fold in. You go like that. And then these here have the slot so they can be tucked in and snugly there. So that's D1, and then here's D2. So your longer flaps are the ones that are gonna kind of bend in towards the middle, and the shorter flaps are the ones that are gonna kind of tuck inside. So you can pre-bend your flaps there. This is gonna come, bend those, bend in like that, bend in like this, come together like that, then tuck in your sides, and tuck in your sides. I'm gonna continue to do the rest, and then we'll show you how to assemble. Now that we have all the boxes assembled and together here, we're gonna start the build. So again, Again, if you have the ability and you have the space, I would lean your displays up against a wall. It just helps you if you're working alone. Makes it a little bit easier to hold the displays up. So you want to, from the bottom piece, you want to lift each of these side flaps up, like so. The displays can be a little floppy, so they're a little tricky sometimes. You want to bring the side around like this, and then bring the side. Oops. Bring the side around like this. Okay, now you might want to come over here. So if you've already watched the half pallet display video, you remember, if you're watching this for the first time, these side things have little flaps down here. Lift these flaps up. They go over these small flaps here. So they're gonna go up and around, and then they're gonna come in the back. And this one has two. You're just gonna tuck it right into the slats in the back so that it holds. Do the same thing over here. You're gonna lift up, hold up and around, push it in like that, into the back, into the slats, like so. So this is the important part. Once you have this, do not forget to do your boxes first. If you put the shelf in without doing these, you will not be able to get these in. So you have to do this before you put the shelf on top of it. So that's where you're gonna wanna reference your sheet for placement. One like this, and I'm gonna place it towards the back, up against the back wall. I'm gonna take my D2, they may fall over, no biggie. I'm gonna put my D2 right next to it. It's gonna be a little snug, so you're gonna have to work it in there a little bit. Actually, you know what? Learning experience. You gotta flip it so it wasn't in there right. So you'll find it, you figure out the way. They'll work, they will sit perfectly together once you have them in the right direction. So you might have to turn around, figure it out. Then you're gonna take a shelf. So you're gonna go cardboard side up, color side down. Take this smaller back flap, fold it up like this. The side flaps go like this. The front ones, of course, will curl up, so we'll just bend them to make it like that. You're gonna come in here. These side flaps do make it a little bit tricky for you to work around, but you're gonna make sure you tuck the little flaps into the side pieces that we just folded over so that sits securely. Make sure this back is tucked towards the back, and then you're gonna repeat the same step that we did before with the next side panel. Fold it up and over this little flap. Tuck it in like this on the side, up and over this little flap. Tuck it in like so into the slats. And what I actually didn't do down below, which I'll show you right now, is the final piece. You definitely want to do this first. I skipped ahead of it, but take these two small flaps, tuck them in like so. Bend this piece up, fold this over. You see there's three flaps here. They will tuck very nicely into the slats at the bottom to hold them, and that's that. Same thing here, side flaps in, this goes up and over, same three slats here, push that in securely. Ooh, make sure it's in the slat, be gentle, the cardboard can bend very easily, and then we're gonna repeat that with the next shelves. One more thing I wanna point out yet again is the section dividers. So next will be section divider C1, which I'm going to reference my sheet. So C1 goes against the back all the way to the left. So now if there's only one, a good way to reference whether you have it the right way is it should match up with the shelf panel. So this is where the next shelf is going to sit. So this is the way it's supposed to be. Obviously not like that, because that goes up and over the side. The shelf will never sit securely in here. So you know you have it sitting the right way when it matches with the side panel. So we're gonna put the next couple shelves in, and then we'll show you the last couple steps. Okay. So now that you have the display built, all your shelves are set, everything looks good, you have all your shelf section dividers in there for the product. You want to finish off the top part of the display. So that's when you're going to take your header piece. So for discovery, you got to fold it in half so that it can be seen from the front and the back. I would recommend coming through from the back, slot in, that. Then you're gonna come around, you're gonna plunk that down like this. And each of your side pieces has this red tape, just like the half pallet displays. You're gonna peel that off. You're gonna stick that down, there you go. And then there's a little tab there that will stick inside the back header piece. Make sure that the tape is securely, because it'll help to fasten the side piece down. This one on this side we already got peeled off. Push that down as well. Tuck that piece in like that. Secure it. And then push firmly down. Make sure they stay. And then you are ready to fill your Discovery and Ryan's World quarter pallet displays.